All right, Kiss Army, welcome to the KissFAQ podcast. Thank you for giving us your time today and letting us into your head. I hope we don't do any damage. We're just a bunch of Kiss fans and we talk Kiss. So come along for the ride, you've got nothing to lose.
Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Released September the 10th, 1975, Kiss Alive was recorded at Electric Lady Studios, July through September 1975. It was built from shows recorded at Detroit's Cobo Hall, Cleveland's Music Hall, 2 shows at Davenport's RKO Theater, and Wildwood's Convention Center in Wildwood, New Jersey. The album hit number 9 in the US, and also did well in Australia, Canada, and Scandinavia. A live version of Rock and Roll All Night hit number 12 on the singles chart. While it's only certified gold in the United States, platinum didn't exist until the following year. Casablanca did celebrate the album's success with internal double platinum awards and trade ads, noting its 2 million copies sold success during 1976. Internal audit documents also indicate sales of over 2 million copies by December 1977, over 3 million by June 1979. The Schlocking lawsuit of 1982 indicated another 500,000 copies sold, putting the total at around the 4 million mark in the United States alone. Worldwide sales of Kiss Alive are estimated at 9 million units. The unexpected success of Alive made Kiss legitimate rock stars, and in conjunction with the simultaneous success of Donna Summer's Love to Love You Baby, it saved Casablanca Records. Today we celebrate Kiss Alive at 50 with a Refocused episode, and it's only appropriate to allow the immortal words of J.R. Smalling to shout it out.
You wanted the best and you got it! The hottest band in the land! Yes!
All right, guys, welcome to the show. We've got we had a full panel, but Lonnie's needed a bathroom break after that monologue. We got Marcus Almighty Mark.
Greetings.
69th Blizzard Ken.
Hello.
Alive Catman. Andrew.
What's up?
Louise. Daniel.
Hej allihopa från Sverige.
And, of course, Lonnie will be back shortly. So we're going to be celebrating the 50th anniversary of Alive just a couple of days early. But you know what? Who knows? It was probably released a day or so around September the 10th, as I just showed in 2 documents attached to the artwork and the sound recording from the Library of Congress. One lists the 11th, one lists the 10th. But I think the 10th is going to be the anniversary date. And hopefully there's going to be some good news in the next week. But let's go straight.
What I want to mention really quickly, because you touched on the dates, is this the only Kiss album that we don't fight about the dates on? It's unanimously September 10th.
No, we're Kiss fans. We'll fight about anything.
But you understand what I'm saying, right? There's definitely things about the Love Gun release and other releases, but I think this is the one that's been unanimously
Only
September
real
10th.
dorks do that, though. I mean, who cares?
Oh, we're Kiss podcasters, Mark. I think we fall into that category with the minutia that we dive into.
I don't consider.
I'm just saying, think about that for a quick second, because there's a lot of people that argue about other dates, right or wrong. I'm not taking any sides or anything like that, but I'm just saying, like, I think unanimously people are in agreement that Kiss Alive came out September 10th, 1975.
Okay, there you have it.
All right.
Let's get on with this show. There is additional multimedia available. I did an episode for the Songless Stories earlier this year. Kiss Comes Alive. I think that went live on May the 16th. So do please check that out if you're so inclined. Andrew's going to give a recap of some of the other stuff available out there at the end of the show. But for now, let's just jump straight into Kiss Alive. What do you recall of your first interaction with this mighty live album, Lonnie, before you disappear again?
Sorry. I'm out of practice. I haven't been on the show in a while. My first reaction, my first knowing of Kiss Alive, I was pretty young, and we went to the mall, and this dates the story already. And they were, flipping through Kiss cassettes, I think at the time, and I saw Alive, and I was like, wow. How cool! Just looking at the small little cassette cover, not the LP cover, but the small little cassette cover, and just looking at the tracks, like, oh, well, Deuce, I know that one. Strutter, I know that one, and I gotta get this, and I didn't get it the first time, because it was double tape and double cassette, and I didn't have that kind of money, But eventually getting it, and I got it on the big fat double CD when I eventually got it, and just being blown away, absolutely blown away. And I think that's probably going to be a lot of our experiences with it. Just absolutely, it just it propelled my Kiss fandom at a very young age. I think I had it. It was after I had Revenge, but of course. But it definitely propelled my Kiss fandom when I finally got it and finally heard it.
Mark, what about you?
Well, as most people who listen to this show frequently would probably realize, my older sister Jane comes into play with this, being a huge Kiss fan and stuff like that. And our neighbors in the apartment building were big Kiss heads, with the guys with the jean jackets with the patches and all that. So I was familiar with the album but never heard it at the time. And then at Christmas, Jane got me it on vinyl. So I remember when I first grabbed that album and I took out that booklet. That booklet was the thing that kind of caught my attention immediately, because I was just starting to get into music and stuff like that, and to see, Ace standing in front of those Marshall stacks, was like, wow, that looks really awesome, So it was those kind of, the imagery was the first impact that did it for me. But then, of course, when you put on the headphones and listen to it, this is, of course, the Mark before he got into, engineering and going into do, sound engineering stuff and getting into a band. So I was completely, oblivious to any of the other stuff that happened to the record. And I just came into it with a completely, no expectations. And I was just completely blown away by how fantastic the album sounded and how much better the songs sounded compared to the studio tracks that I was so used to hearing my sister play in the house. So it was a great first impression.
Yeah, Daniel, you heard a nice little shout out for Scandinavia in my intro section there. When did you first encounter that in your fandom, and how did you react to it?
Well, the point of entry for me was Animalize and Asylum. So I think I found this a few years before Revenge came out, and I had some of the older records and was flabbergasted by the way they sounded on the live, because in the late 80s I didn't really care for the early albums because I thought they sounded, I couldn't hear the greatness because the sound was so different from the 80s album. Yeah, when you had like Asylum and Animalize, those early albums sounded, when you're a 10-year-old kid, it's like, what the hell is this? And then you don't really listen to the music. But Alive open, my ears sort of to those early tunes, and I especially remember being shocked by the way a song like Firehouse could sound live compared with the studio album. So that was just great, and Parasite was another one that really took me back. So I liked it off the bat, actually, Alive, when I heard it in, I guess it's the late 80s. When I came across it, I bought it on the flea market, as I did back in the day. So I liked it right off the bat.
Andrew, I think you're the youngest participant on the panel here. When did it come along in your fandom?
It was actually Alive 2 was first. It was probably 96 or 97. I had a lot of hand-me-down records initially, and then I had some cassettes. The very first cassette I had was the 85 Creatures of the Night, which I thought was new at the time, and obviously wasn't. But I had Alive 2 first. So Alive, what I thought as a young kid, I thought that Alive and Alive 2 had every song, and then after that, they started releasing the songs on the individual albums. For some reason, that made sense to me at the time. I mean, remember, there's no internet, none of this stuff, so I really couldn't ask anybody. Alive didn't make its mark on me until probably the late 90s, like maybe 99 or even 2000, where I understood what it was, and I understood the effect it had on the band at the time. But I was always more into Alive 2 versus Alive. Now, I'm 30 plus years into my fandom. Alive is one of my go-to records. It sounds the way a Kiss concert sounds. And now we have so much great multimedia to go along with it. VH1 did a great documentary in 2003. And now we have all these great releases. We have, I showed this before, which, and answered the question, hey, it could actually fit on one CD. So, we have this, we have the remasters, and we have all these other great things that we're able to experience that had happened around the same time period. I feel closest to Alive more than a lot of other records now because some of it was recorded in New Jersey, where I was born and raised. Other parts were in Cleveland, which is where I live now. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm kind of doing the Alive tour as to where I decide I'm going to live. But it's definitely up there. It's what every live album should sound like, in my opinion. Furthermore, it also represents a full concert, which I don't believe any other live album since has done.
Nice.
That's pretty interesting, Andrew. You became a fan sort of after the 3 first live albums. So what did you think about Alive 3? Did you get into that one as well, or did you just...
I got into Alive 3, but I mean, I was a fan in the late 80s. I had hand-me-down records, as I mentioned. But again, I was just like, I was casual. I didn't really become a diehard fan until probably the reunion, when I sort of knew what was going on with the band at the time. But Alive, I think I had Alive 3 on CD before I got the remasters of Alive and Alive 2. I think. But I consumed Alive 3 because it was just, this is Kiss. I only had access to a certain, whatever the local record store had is what I had access to. Ordering a CD from any place else was not happening for me.
Plus it was newer at the time too, right?
Yeah.
All right, Ken.
Yeah, short answer. I got Alive 2. That was my very first album. So, and then I went backwards and started buying studio albums and all that stuff. And then I did get Alive, and I thought, oh, this sounds like an actual, more so flowed like a concert than Alive 2 did. Though Alive 2 sounded more grittier to me than Alive. But I thought, oh, this is how they sounded right after the first few albums. So I thought, oh, yeah, these songs they sound much better production than what was on the actual studio album, which you would expect the studio album to have better production than than Alive stuff. But this is the opposite in Kiss's case with a lot of their songs, actually. So, I learned to love that album or Alive. So I think it's great. It stands up there, though I have my heart goes to Alive too, because that was my first Kiss album and the first one I got. But Alive is right up there with it. That was a great album.
Yeah, so I'm a similar kind of story to Daniel in that, getting into Kiss in the mid 80s, this was my first go-to, and it was cassette. So 2 sides. And what blew my mind with it was I had double platinum before that, and that was really cool as a compilation of that golden era of the band. But this was one that imprinted on me how powerful they were. Yeah, it's not quite accurate as a live concert, but as a representation of a live experience, it's completely beyond superlatives. This still stands the test of time. This is still a powerful and dynamic album. This is one I've listened to it like 9 times this week in between Beatles, and it's just vibrant. It's powerful. It still hooks me in like it did in 1985, 86 when I first heard it. And that's what, to me, made it a real band at that point, because I hadn't heard Kiss. And I've always liked this the most out of the Alive 3. Alive 2, second best, if that. Alive 3 way down. So Alive is my live album. Let's get into the refocused metrics for this. We break it into some sections. Lonnie, we're all 5s across the board. Perfection for production and cohesiveness. Lonnie, why is it perfectly produced and cohesive? Other than it being a really dumb question.
Because it is perfect. Because it's absolutely... I have nothing bad to say about it. If you want to hear me talk bad about a Kiss album, go listen to one of our other Refocused, because I have nothing even critical at all to say today. I mean, this album is, it's one of the biggest reasons that we're all here. It's one of the biggest reasons we're Kiss fans. Is this album is so, it's fantastic from start to finish. I mean, production wise, what more do you want? Like Andrew said, it sounds like a Kiss concert. It sounds what a Kiss concert sounds like when you go to the show. It's not overproduced. You don't have the crowd noise just so freaking loud like a Live 2 does. It's not overdone. Cohesiveness, it flows so good. I ran to this album yesterday morning, and it was just like running with an old friend, and that it just flows the whole time, and it's just so steady as it goes. There's no ups and downs. It just gets you fired up from the jump and keeps you going. And am I supposed to talk about all these things, Julian?
No, just production and cohesiveness. We'll get into
Okay,
it
good. Then I'm done.
Once we go around.
Then I'll stop.
Okay, then I'm done. That's time to punch out. That's it, yeah.
Mark, production and cohesiveness for you.
Well, I think to most people's surprise, I actually gave both of them a 5. So mainly because the one part of me was tempted last night to give the production like a 4, because knowing in my heart that it's the farthest thing from an actual real live album, that kind of always been one of those points that kind of bothered me about it. But I went back to my younger self that first heard that and was impacted so strongly by it, and I said, you know what, forget the technical parts, I'm just going to go with my heart, and I gave it a 5 because it did really come across as a stellar record, and it still is. I mean, don't get me wrong, but that I think is more important than the technical aspects of it. If you want to get nitpicky about it, you can say this isn't real, that isn't real, so how could it be a real live album? But anyways, when I first got it, I didn't know any of that shit, didn't care about that shit, and I really loved it. And the cohesiveness from beginning to end, it flows beautifully. You would never have known that it was taken from different sources and different places and blah 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 blah. And that's a benefit or a tip of the hat to Mr. Kramer, who did a fantastic job doing that, to making it sound like a legitimate concert from beginning to end. So great stuff.
Daniel.
Yeah, I gave it 2 5s as well, so I don't have that much to add. They cut some tracks off from the live experience, from the live show. Like I think they played "Let Me Know" a whole lot during that tour, I think. But it's a perfect package. In hindsight, one would like to have Rock and Roll All Night ending the show, but that's in hindsight. I would like Black Diamond and Rock and Roll Night later on the album, but that's the way it went later on. So as a document of that 75 tour, it's just awesome, and it's like you're there when you listen to the album. It's like you're at the concert. So Eddie Kramer was such a genius in creating the right amount of noise from the audience combined with the band, and yeah. So I love this album, and I think it's the best live album. But I have a soft spot for Live 3 just because I waited for that one, longing for that one, and finally got it. Even though it was a bit disappointing that they didn't have a lot of the 80s stuff on that album. They added older songs to it. To be perfectly honest, that's the live album I listen to the most. So Julian said Alive 3 is way down, but for me, it holds a special place. I just want to add that. So, but Alive, of course, the original, the great live album from Kiss, the one that will go down in history.
Yep. And again, Alive 3 for us who became fans after the original era, that is our live album. So no matter how I may denigrate it for not comparing with the other two, it's still the one that was released new for us. So, Andrew, cohesiveness and production, sir.
I 5s across the board, but I'm kind of surprised that no one had mentioned this before, that when Eddie Kramer was brought on to do the record, he viewed it as a challenge because he thought that Kiss really couldn't play. So he wanted to make the band sound as good as the band thought they sounded. He's been really transparent about this in several different interviews where he says, I want to do this because I want to make this band sound good. So that was sort of the first inclination that maybe that this was not all live. I'll be completely honest with you. I don't care that it's not all live. I don't care that it was, the audience was boosted. I don't care about any of that stuff. What I take from this is how good it sounds and how good a Kiss concert probably was at that time. Here's what Kiss has been really great at doing. They've been really great at living up to what we thought they were. I mean, how many times have you watched those Houston and Largo 77 shows, and then the band says in 96 that, hey, we're going to do the 77 show, but it was actually so much bigger. I mean, I maybe saw 4 or 5 pieces of pyro in the shows in the 70s. So what Kiss was doing with Alive is what they ended up doing later in their careers, where they were saying, this is what you remember the concert to be. This isn't what the concert was. Because obviously, we'll talk about later the overdubs and things like that. They were really good at giving us a product that we remembered what a Kiss concert should be like. And we're still here 50 years later saying, yeah, I remember it like that. But in actuality, it was never like that.
Andrew, one thing I want to just jump in really quickly. You said that he thought that he couldn't play well. I think actually what he did say was that he thought there was a challenge because the way they performed, it made it hard to record because Paul's never on microphone on time.
Yeah.
He would jump up and down, and when he'd land, his guitar, his tune is like his chord would go way out of tune when he landed and stuff. Yeah. And I think that was more of the issues, not so much that they couldn't play, right? It was just difficult to get what they did to sound good on recording. So sorry, go back to what you were saying.
Yeah. And that's and I agree with you there. I think he knew that when they're playing, they sacrifice some of the musicianship to jump around and entertain the crowd. So you couldn't, maybe when you're recording an Eagles record, you could kind of hit record and then just fix little things here and there. You couldn't just hit record on a Kiss record because you have bombs that are going off that are collapsing the microphones. People are jumping around and then all this stuff. So it was a challenge for Eddie to do that. But, like I mentioned, he created what we thought a Kiss concert should be. And I hope that there comes a time when we could hear the other concerts that Eddie Kramer recorded, that we talked about last year, about how we think that he recorded the Anaheim 76 concert or a multitude of other things. For someone who was so close to Led Zeppelin and Jimi Hendrix and bands like that, he really kind of delivered the Kiss sound that we all wanted. And I don't think a lot of people talk about that. This guy understood what Kiss should sound like, whereas you had other people saying, missing the mark a little bit. So I think a tip of the hat to Eddie Kramer on this for creating the Kiss concert that we thought we all heard.
Absolutely. And you talked about the sessions. The sessions ran from like July the 25th through September the 4th. Not every day, obviously, because there were other things happening in between that. But that's a very long time. And there's a lot of studio time required to take the functional pieces of the live recordings that were captured and make them work. And it really does stand the test of time. I mean, it's a perfect 5 for me as well for production.
I mean,
that power still comes through.
The last thing I'll say, and this is, I'm going off of the Great Kiss on Tour book, which if you're a fan, you got to get one of these. Just to go off of the time frame, because the first recordings for Alive was in May of 1976. May of 1975. I'm sorry. And then it went on till later on in the summertime. That's a long time to record those shows and then have to overdub them. It's a long.
Wildwood, near the end of July, I think it was, because it's postponed. Ken, so production and cohesiveness. Justify the first 2 5s that you assigned to this album, please.
Yeah, I'm going to sound like a broken record. Because I'm going to hit 5. 5, yes, 5 and 5. Production, cohesive production. Great. This is the reason why Eddie Kramer should have been the producer for the first 3 albums instead of those other guys. At least on especially the first 2 albums. Wow. Richie Wise, Kenny Kerner, right? I can't. I just don't understand why they didn't use them. So whatever. But great production, cohesiveness. Everything sounds where it needs to be and like it, should be. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with it. It just sounds great. The one thing Andrew said about sounding like Kiss concert, them playing, they were jumping around and stuff. That's the tough thing with it. Playing and jumping and running at the same time is not easy. I know Mark can probably attest to that. So, but the other thing is that the bomb, I just was thinking, the bomb, it sounds like an atomic bomb going off at the beginning,
Isn't it a cannon?
Well,
Yeah,
or I don't know what.
Cannon shot, yeah.
It's a cannon or something, but it sounds like to me it always sounds like a bomb just went off.
It's the best explosion on a record.
It's just
ever.
It's just a great thing. So anyway, it's to keep it simple, great production, great cohesiveness, nothing wrong with it. Perfect.
All right, cover art and packaging. I'm going to go first because I'm the only one that does not give it a 5.
Okay.
Oh my God.
That is simply because I think that little Ace with his guitar the wrong way around.
Are you really going to nitpick on that?
That's what we're
on the
going.
cover?
Even though it's an artistic representation,
He's
I'm
spinning it. You just
taking
can't see him
1/10
spinning
of a
it.
point off. You know what? I love the packaging and the artwork for this album, and that's why this week's background is, of course, from the back. These two guys have to be a part of this show. Lee Neves and Bruce Redoute. Is that how you say his name? The guys who held up the banner. And no, my chair's in the way. What a I love the handwritten notes. And it just adds a certain amount of personality to the album that it really does feel like a gift from them to us.
Yeah, but who wrote them?
Lonnie.
I got it on that big fat double CD when I originally got it, and didn't know that the notes and everything like that even existed until I went to the record store up down the street from me, and saw they have the vinyl version of it, and started opening it up and looking at it, and I was like, oh my, and was just blown away by what was inside, and and eventually bought it and brought it home. And I remember it was like getting the album again and experiencing the album again all over again once I had the vinyl version of it and was able to open it up and see everything inside of it. And I just remember and we've all done it, I'm sure, just laying in my bedroom, just listening to it and just staring at the pictures inside this, and just imagining what it would have been like to see them at this point in time. And and I think when I got the vinyl, it was in probably summer of '96, and my Kiss fandom is just going off the charts, and just being absolutely just enthralled with it when I got the vinyl version of it. And as far as album cover goes, I mean, it's so freaking cool. It doesn't get much better than that. And I love the back too. And 15-year-old me always was enthralled with who this young lady was sitting right here. What was her story?
Nice.
Who does she date? What's her deal? But
wow.
Anyway. So I give it a 5.
Just because of that lady.
Well, again, there was that part of me that was going to not give it a 5. Similarly, for one of the reasons that Julian said, I thought that it was the most ridiculous thing, the way Ace was standing with the guitar. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. But again, I went back to the young me who was totally enamored by this album, who loved that booklet. I'm telling you, that booklet got totally worn out in the original version of that album when I had, just from looking at it all the time and looking at that picture of Gene spitting out the blood there, and that I was like, wow, this is fantastic. Imagine what the show must be like, to see it perfectly, And so I gave it a 5 because I think that in my heart, it really affected me in a positive way, the whole artwork of it again. And I'm kind of glad I went down that way this week instead of being overly critical about certain things.
Daniel.
Well, the cover is greatness, It looked a bit staged of course. It looks like a photo session when you look
It
at
was.
it now. Yeah, it was, and it shows. It's not. If it was a really good photo session, you wouldn't. It would feel more live. But I think the one thing that Paul and Gene regrets the most is that Ace is the centerpiece of the cover. I'm sure they would. That's really hard for them to take. You know, their biggest record, their breakthrough record. Ace is right in the middle, showing off, holding his guitar the wrong way, even, and they are staying to the side, like we're just playing in the background here along to this crazy Space Ace guys in the middle. So I think that's their biggest regret. I don't know why they put him in the middle, really, but because Paul and Gene were really the leaders of the band. Even at this point of time, and Peter Criss, you can almost make him out in the background there, but he has a cool pose. But I think it's Gene looks menacing, Paul looks cool, and whatever Ace is doing on the guitar when I was 10 years old or 15 years old, it looked cool. Some sort of guitar trick there, but now when you actually know how to play guitar and so on, it really doesn't make any sense. But a cool cover, It could have been better maybe, but I think it's really cool.
Inverted ninth chord from Jendel.
Yeah, exactly.
Andrew.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to echo what a lot of other people said. Even when I was a young fan, I kind of always knew that it was a staged photo, and I kind of always wanted a better photo, I guess, on there that kind of represented the live show. I immediately always turn it over in the back. And is Chad Smith in that audience? Have we confirmed or denied that? I mean, I know there was a lot of speculation about that too. Furthermore, for years we were told that it wasn't a Kiss concert, and then obviously a couple of years ago, and even featured in the Great Kisstory documentary from 2021, we see actual visual footage of the sign at a Kiss show. So we finally were able to put that to bed once and for all. But yeah, I mean, I always preferred the package of Alive 2 just because you can't beat the gatefold in Alive 2.
The gatefold is magnificent.
Gatefold is great. Yeah.
Yeah, it's but you can't argue that the Alive package kind of hit all points, because then you have that awesome book, and basically the book is like, you could, if you put on the record and look at the book, you could almost maybe, you're taking some substances, you could see the Alive come to life. I always thought the notes were kind of cheesy, and I'm like, I don't really want to read. Those missed the mark for me as a kid. I mean, but
I agree.
But again, I mean, I was a prepubescent teen, when I first saw this in the late 90s. So those notes missed the mark for me. But I kind of wished that we got something sort of similar to what this was, with where it looks like a road case, and you kind of have all the backstage passes and all that stuff, and then you look at all the great tour books that have come out that show all the great, pieces of print media that came out around this time. I kind of wish that maybe Alive would have been like an alleyway with all their concert posts on or something like that. But again, you can't argue that this propelled Kiss into where they wanted to be. And that's the greatest live band of all time.
Yeah, Super Zapper nails it with iconic.
Yeah.
This is one where that superlative really does it justice. Ken?
Yeah, the artwork and packaging is perfectly, well, it's perfect. It's fine. I gave it a 5. That shot of Ace on the front, he's like, who knows? He's playing his guitar. Thinking about it now, it's like, maybe he looks like he's going to shoot some rockets out of it or something, right?
Yeah.
What we know from later on, where they did actually shoot rockets or sparks or anything out of it.
He did it then.
Yeah. So, he did, didn't he? So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. And it's funny, Lonnie is talking about looking at the people, thinking what they're, what are they doing? Who's this guy? And there's this one guy looks, and he has this girl next to him, right? and he looks
that
like
guy.
freaking bummed to be there. He's
Stoned.
bummed, and she's like, "Oh, I can't wait to see. Wait till Gene comes out and spits Beast Spider." He's like, "Oh, shit."
No, he's
Yeah,
having
this guy's
I'm
like,
like,
"Oh, man."
I'm listening to Steely Dan. I like Steely
Yeah.
Dan. Or something else.
Oh, he don't look like no Steely Dan guy. He looks like something different, maybe like Sabbath or something.
Play
Cream
the
or something.
Eagles.
Anyway, yeah. So anyway, yeah, that kind of thing. You just sit there and stare at the album, the headphones on, and just kind of get lost in it, lost in the book and everything. And it's just a.
Or has he just had it with these
perfect
two
thing.
standing right there, and he's just
And that's
like,
the beginning.
"You two just sit down."
Yeah, just sit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sit down in front, and then the
Stop
booklet
with the
is like
selfies already.
This is the beginning of the whole, packaging. If you think about it, for these people that are young, like Andrew, who's only 12, the packaging is great because when I was young, we used to get like Cracker Jacks boxes, the Cracker Jacks,
In black and white.
which is the popcorn caramel with the peanuts and stuff. And you always came with a secret prize in it. That's what this is like. You get with Kiss, you get the secret prize.
That's
a number of their albums.
Point. That's an interesting point, and they would capitalize on that because if you listen to the Alive 2 commercial, it says you get all the stuff and a special Kiss surprise, which were those damn tattoos.
Just like that,
Right.
exactly. So,
That's right.
perfect.
All right, single selection. Lonnie, Rock and Roll All Night is your only choice. Good choice, bad choice?
I think it's the perfect choice. What more do you want? It's the song that became what people know when they think of Kiss. It propelled them to. It helped propel them what they are. I mean, everybody. They knew that song was good, and it didn't get what they wanted off of Dress to Kill, and this comes out and it does what they want it to do. It becomes their signature song, the song that they close with every night for the next 50 years, basically. Yeah. So, I mean, what more do you want? It's the song that helped make them Kiss. Whether it's overdone or not, it was the perfect selection as a single. So it's definitely a 5.
Yeah, I was going to say that they should have had a second single from Alive, but it didn't hit number 12 until early 76, by which time Destroyer is fast coming together. So it wouldn't have made any sense. Yeah. I think my only quibble is that the studio version on the B-side, I think it would have been great if it had been, say, one of the tracks like Let Me Know omitted from the album as a B-side. That would be my only quibble, but it's Rock and Roll All Night is the single. It's purposeful, and obviously it is the calling card. Mark,
this is the only part of the the production cohesiveness and blah blah that I didn't give it a 5. I gave it a 4, just mainly because, and that's not like a bad ranking. Give me a break, like 4 out of 5. But still, I mean, it's just I couldn't do it, guys. I tried and tried. I'm just so sick of Rock and Roll All Night. It's just so overplayed to death, and it's such this. And you know what? Everybody's saying that it became their trademark. No, it only became that way because they did that. No, I don't remember anybody of my friends saying Rock and Roll All Night is the best song that Kiss has ever done. I don't know anybody who's ever said that. If they went and played Let Me Go Rock and Roll as the closer all the time and just continue to do that, then that would have ended up being the song that they known as their national anthem if they would have played it. It only became that way because they kept playing it that way and they made it that way. Paul kept saying it was that rock and roll national anthem. I don't know anybody, none of my friends ever said that, yeah, man, this is the rock and roll national. Nobody ever said that. Nobody has ever said. So honestly, I'm not saying that it was a bad selection, but this record is so good, they could have put anything out as a single, in my opinion, honestly. I mean, why not put out Parasite, or why not put out, Deuce is a great opener. What a good single that would have been, But, there you go. They did that.
Neil Bogart knew better.
Yeah, I guess. You wouldn't.
Yeah.
That's to be, debated on another time.
All right, Daniel.
Well, I think Mark has a point. There are loads of great stuff on this album. if I go and listen to this album, I prefer actually a Deuce or Strutter or Firehouse to Rock and Roll All Night. But I think the message of the song is really important in order to make it. And you can't release a song like Deuce. We don't even know what the hell they're singing about. Is
that's true.
is it dropping a deuce, or is it the card thing, or is it the place in New York City? We don't know. So you can't release that as single. You want to have something simple that people can rally behind, and then of course Rock and Roll Night is the perfect choice. So 5 out of 5.
All right, Ken. No, Andrew. Because you've got some explaining to do here.
I do.
Uh-oh.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody find it odd that the single version is slightly different than the album version? It's got an extra little rock and roll at the end. Is anybody
Guitar solo.
does that bother anybody? Because it bothers me.
No,
Because that song
No.
was
No,
I don't lay in bed
after
thinking
things were
about
done.
that. No.
it's another
What's that?
nerd thing there.
That's one of the third things.
What'd you say, Julian? I didn't hear what you said.
It was fixed after things were done for the album in
Oh.
order to make it more powerful for the radio.
But does it?
I don't know. Does it?
I don't
You don't
think
like
so.
it. You don't care for it anyway. So
You hate it.
I do. I
What?
this because and this song is definitely a constant groan for me because it was pushed down my throat
Yes,
for decades.
exactly.
Push down everybody's.
That's what I
And
said.
anytime you saw Kiss, it was this song, and I was like, man, there's so many other good songs. I remember every time they were on TV, Rock and Roll Night. They were on Super Bowl, Rock and Roll Night, on MTV
Yeah.
Awards, Rock and Roll Night. I remember when they performed Detroit Rock City on that Dick Clark special in 2002 with Tommy and Eric. I remember people were like, "Oh my God, it's not Rock and Roll All Night! Holy crap!" It's just, I mean,
Yeah.
people were unhappy about the makeup at the time, but I just remember how fresh literally any other song sounded. Now again,
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you.
now again.
Yeah.
Let's go back
Like
to
when they did
1970.
God of Thunder at that wrestling thing, and I thought that was cool at the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes,
Like
but
something different.
yes, but again, in 1975, we weren't sick of it yet, and you guys are right. The message of the song is what was important.
Yeah.
They were trying to get people to rally behind them. You had all these other bands that had these anthems, and Kiss needed an anthem. This is what Kiss was about. So it made sense, and I just kind of looked through the track list. There are really no other songs that made sense as a single. Maybe Let Me Go Rock and Roll, but let's remember that the studio version of Rock and Roll tanked worse than the studio version of Rock and Roll All Night.
Yeah.
So it just made sense that this was going to be the single, and this was going to be the song that the band built their career and live show out of. So do I like it? No. Do I think it's silly that the completist in me now needs the single because it's slightly different at the end? Yes, I groan every time I do that. But this was also our first glimpse into Kiss not being a B-side band. Yes, there should have been another track on the B-side that was left off the album, but again, Kiss has never been a B-side band, and that kind of dovetails into why we all want box sets and unreleased stuff, because we can't get them officially. We have to go on the unofficial market. So would I have rated this higher if there was an unreleased song? Maybe, but again, I'm so sick of this song that it's just
Amen.
it's a constant skip for me.
Well, they struck gold with the B-side to Detroit Rock City a year later on, but I guess that was just damn luck.
Yeah, that was just dumb luck. But when I say Kiss being a B-side band, B-sides now are typically referred to as songs that are not
non-album
on the album.
Yeah,
you have bands like one of my other favorite bands, Foo Fighters. Their B-sides are all just, you have to collect those singles because there's stuff you can't get anywhere else. And I know there are many other bands that are like that.
Fucking Dave Grohl, he gets into every episode.
I was going to say Foo Fighters. Looking at my stack of foot high of CD singles from them with B-sides on it.
Yeah. I love that band, and I love collecting that band.
All right, well, cool. This is the Kiss FAQ. So, Ken, singles.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Andrew, what was your score on that? You didn't say.
One.
Oh
I don't
my
remember,
God.
but did
A
I
one?
did I give it a 0 or a 1?
Okay, you're out. Bye.
Okay,
I'm
I'll
gonna
see myself out.
I'm gonna click you out of here.
Okay,
You know
I'll
what?
see myself out.
I'm tired of that song too, but I
Van Hammer.
understand it. I understand it. And at the time, it made the most sense. It was the most radio friendly type song as a sing along chorus. It works. It's an anthem. It's just a perfect single from that. I mean, that's all you can say about it. Sure, I like Black Diamond, but they're not going to release Black Diamond for AM radio back then or anything like that. So as a single, though, it's my favorite. Anyway, it's a perfect song to release. I remember hearing it, not knowing that it was Kiss. I still didn't know till later on. I thought, oh, I remember hearing that when I was, going to sleep in bed, and I had the thing. I turn it to little dial to 60 minutes on your clock radio, and you fall asleep to the music playing. I remember that playing. I remember Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody, and that kind of stuff. But lots of times they didn't say who the artist was.
Yeah.
I was like, so I didn't know unless they said the artist. Then I would know to go out and buy a 45 at the record store or wherever you could buy records. So anyway, yeah, it's a perfect song. I gave it a 5.
All right. So, yeah, it is a perfect song. It's the only single that has shown signs of life earlier that year. It made sense. Bogart was a genius. So it's the only thing that could be. All right. We're going to skip over the final question here about taste because, yeah, obviously everyone on this panel likes Kiss Alive or they wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
So let's go straight into the song rankings. And let's just try and keep this concise because we've got 16 of these to get through, and I don't want a 5-hour episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
No one else
try,
does.
please. All right. 16th place, our least favorite song on Kiss Alive.
Interesting.
Watch this. Probably going to be the same song.
Nothing to Lose on
138.5
correct.
points.
That's correct.
So I'm going to stick to the order I've established. Lonnie, Nothing to Lose.
I gave it 27. I think it's freaking. I think Nothing to Lose sounds great. I love. You're listening to it, and all of a sudden, then you get the Peters vocals. And you're like, oh wow! And I love his scratchy voice on Nothing to Lose, and him and Gene going back and forth. I gave it live translation. I gave it a 5. Looking at what it sounded like from the studio album to this, I'm like, oh wow, it just breathed new life into the song. Band performance, I gave it a 4, and taste, I gave it a 3. I ended up with 27 because it's freaking great. Sorry, it's the least favorite song on the panel though. So let's hear what you guys have to say.
Mark.
I'm going to make this very easy for you, Julie. I'm going to keep mine very concise. I gave it a 27 for only one reason. This is the only song on the album that I like the studio version better, only because I like Gene's voice better on the studio version. I thought his voice was fantastic on Nothing to Lose, the tone of it. But that's it. That's the only song on this thing that I gave a 27. Everything else is a perfect. So that's the only thing that I knocked, is because I just don't think he's saying it as good. That's it.
Daniel.
It sounds great on the album, but it's a pretty subpar song compared to Deuce, Strutter, Black Diamond, Rock Bottom, Watching You, and so on. So I gave it 2 for taste, and that's why it didn't collect a whole lot of points from me.
Well, you got a whole lot more than Andrew gave it. Andrew.
I preferred the later live translations where there's a bigger call and answer session between Gene and Peter. I also preferred on Unplugged versus this. I just think this is one of the ones that misses the mark and is the song that I skip the most on this album. Not because I don't like it, just because I think it became stronger later on in the band's history.
Skip a song on Kiss Alive?
Sometimes.
It's nuts.
Never been done. Mine goes on loop.
No, I've never done that.
Yeah. Mine's easy.
I gave it. Go on. You're going to say this a lot. You know it.
I gave it
a perfect score.
Perfect score of 30. It's perfectly fine. I didn't care for it too much on the first album, and maybe it's due to the production, but just for Peter's vocals and firepower on drums, for this. Actually, even the whole album is perfect for me. I just love the song. I think it works perfectly fine live. Sure, it's not one of their staples that they do. Down the road they kind of went away from it, but I love it. They're all it's perfectly done. I enjoy it every time I hear it. So nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, and again, the rankings are just a way of organizing the conversation. We love Kiss Alive. I refuse to have any ties. I have a different methodology than Ken, clearly. So I go into tens of points and hundreds of points to ensure that there are no
better
ties.
than the other one. Yeah.
And I give this is near perfect to me. I love the call outs, and it's such a party song. It's so fun, even though its innuendo is kind of dark.
Innuendo.
Yeah. It is a super fun song. All right, so in 15th place on 143 points, shockingly, Cold Gin. Lonnie.
Oh,
wow.
Cold Gin. I gave Cold Gin 27 also, though. I thought live translation of 4, band performance 5. Man, that band performance of Cold Gin is darn good. And you're listening to that breakdown section in the middle, especially too. Taste, I gave it 3. 27 for me. Sorry.
Mark.
I gave it a perfect score again because if I was going to be in the critical mindset that I normally am with this kind of stuff, I could have said those vocals are obviously overdone. They were done again. You can tell. Blah blah blah. If I didn't want to go down that path and do all these kind of deep critiquing of it, I just remember when I heard it the first time on record, I thought it was fantastic. I was a big Ace guy back when I first got into them, and I thought that was really well done. And the whole and the guitar was so cool. So I gave it a perfect score.
Daniel.
If they would have named it Southern Comfort, I'd give it a top score because that's way better than gin. Gin is awful. I hate fucking gin.
It smells like Christmas.
It's awful.
Do you hate English people?
Smells like Scotch.
No, I don't hate English people, Julian. I only
have
hate
a gin and tonic today, please.
A GT, we call it over here. A GT, yeah. So no, I don't like gin, but what the hell? This is the perfect Ace Frehley song. I guess the score could, be a bit lower because of the extensive guitar solo maybe on the song, because if you look on the record it's 7 minutes and 15 seconds. That's a bit, well, not to me, but I guess some of the other guys can't get around that guitar solo, because I actually gave it a perfect score, even though he's singing about one of the worst drinks ever. Gin. Southern Comfort or tequila is way better.
It could have been anything. As long as it was booze, right? So
tequila time again. TT. That's an alliteration. That's better. Tequila time.
Great intro. Andrew, you're not a fan of this one either.
What the hell, Andrew?
He's a drummer, so
Are you a Kiss fan?
He hates Alive.
That's not. No.
Are you really a Rush fan?
Oh, I love Rush. I actually like Triumph.
Okay, don't start with that, okay?
I like Triumph more than Rush.
Mark takes that personally.
Okay, get Mark started.
This is one of those songs where I liked it so much more in the later years. Like I liked it when Ace's solo was in there. Starting on the Destroyer and Rock and Roll Over tour. I really just like that iteration of the song where they kind of cut off the end part of it. I also really liked it in 1980 when they had that Cold Gin into Strutter thing. I thought that was so cool. And the introduction, when I was a younger kid, I thought he said fucking orange juice instead of vodka and orange juice. So just leave that there. But no, that's cool. This I always preferred the demo that Eddie Kramer did over this. And this wasn't I don't know. This is just not my favorite track on the record.
Ken.
Yeah. Okay. Guess what?
Perfect score.
Perfect score, 30. And it's the live translation, 5, perfect 5, band performance, perfect 5. My taste is I love this stuff. It's a 3 out of 3.
Yeah.
So it's 30.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with this song. So anyway, I guess I'll give it
It
a
actually
perfect
rhymes.
score. Keep it. Well, there you go. Perfect.
Yeah, so the song's powerful. I mean, the performance is powerful. It's a great performance. There's great dynamics on the recording. But Cold Gin has always been one of my least favorite songs. Live or not live. So
Here we go.
I give it 20 points. It's 5 and 5
Oh,
for.
my God.
I give it 2 5s, Ken. But it's just a meh song to
Your
me.
taste.
So
A
my
myth,
taste.
though.
You know what makes the song, Julian, though, is the middle part that Gene came up with.
No.
Oh, here
The
we
And he
thing
also
is,
came up with the riff. He also came up with
Ace's
He
main
came-
riff
Fanboy.
is the whole song.
no.
Ace's main
That
riff.
middle part is what made
No.
made
You
the
want that
song.
on record? Okay.
And just like Gene's riff on Black Diamond, he came up with that one too. So be happy.
Ken is just disappointed. No didn't make Alive 3.
No, I'm not.
All right. Go in 14th place on 146 points, Firehouse. Lonnie.
Oh, I gave Firehouse a perfect score. I love that version of Firehouse on Kiss
Hell
Alive.
yeah.
It is fantastic. So live translation. I mean, you listen to that one, the first album, then you listen to this. It sounds like a completely different song. I love this version. This is my go-to version of Firehouse. Is Kiss Alive. I give it a 30. I love it.
Mark.
I agree. I gave it a perfect 30, and I'll go one further to say that I watched, all 3 Kobo Hall videos, and night 1, Peter Criss is on fire playing this song. Absolutely fantastic. That massive hit he gives that little splash symbol before they go back into it again tells you all you need to know about how much he was into that song. Great version. I love that version. Kobo, first night, that's your version.
Daniel.
Perfect score. Actually, when I heard Alive for the first time, this was the first song that stood out to me. It was the first song that I felt like, wow, this is great. This sounds great. And I know Andrew is coming up, so I would like to know, Andrew, Peter Criss, you've been mimicking Peter Criss for years when you were in those tribute bands. Which is the greatest Peter Criss fill on Alive?
Deuce.
Of
Absolutely. His work in Deuce, absolutely. But yeah, there's some great work on Firehouse as well. I like the song.
Yeah.
Andrew. So you and
Yeah,
I
I mean,
are the reason
this-
why this is down in 14th place, by the way.
It's because of me. Well, I mean, here's the thing, because there's 2 of my favorite songs that I gave, perfect scores because they I couldn't not. The song before this is actually my favorite Kiss song of all time. But I mean, this song is a staple. This song is I never skip it on Alive, but I couldn't do Ken, and I couldn't give everything perfect scores. Couldn't do it.
Ken.
No one
Firehouse.
can do Ken. Anyway, let's. Yeah, perfect score 30. I want to say though, Firehouse is so much better because it's they sped it up, and Cold Gin, both of those were much better by being sped up a little bit, and because they were kind of really slow on the first album in tempo. The other thing about Firehouse that I would have loved to have, how they have the part where towards the end where Gene's going to breathe fire. They should have had a sound for him breathing fire, just like create some kind of swoosh sound right before the boom at the end.
Come on, it was fake enough as it is.
I would have added, if you're going to edit it, might as well add that to it to give it an enhancement, just like the
some
Andrew can fix that.
So.
Andrew can fix that later on.
Yeah, actually, Andrew, on any
Andrew,
of your
do it.
videos, have you embellished the flambe section?
No,
Hell
I haven't
yeah.
because for whatever. Actually, I'm thinking about it now. I don't think I've ever done a video aside from Alive '96 with Firehouse in it because it's not in the Greatest Show on Earth. It's not in the Tokyo one. Yeah, I don't think I've ever done that. I don't think I've ever done a one with Firehouse.
See, now you have a new project.
But I wouldn't do
product.
that because I mean, I would add sounds to the flames, like the flame stacks and God of Thunder or whatever. But yeah, I never thought about that.
There you go.
Yeah, so this song is way down my list just because I don't particularly care for this song. Its tempo, anything about it particularly.
Better
I mean,
tempo.
I love the flame blowing live sequence in concert that followed it, but this song's just never done anything for me. Sorry. Rodrigo asked a great question. Julian, explain to us the scoring system. Yeah, so we give 5 points for the translation of the song from the album version to the live. So do they do a great job of transforming it live, or do they not do a great job transforming it live? And then we also give it 5 points on the performance. Is it a great performance or a so-so performance? And then do we like it? Are we indifferent to it? Or do we not like it? 1, 2, or 3 points, and we just multiply and add and divide by the square root of pi in the zodiac of Capricorn and come up with a magical number. And if I like it, we use it. And if I don't like it, I change it. Hanging
It's
chat.
just the
If
first.
he doesn't like the
added
ranking, he
together
changes
times
his point
taste.
system up
There,
higher.
there you have it.
But
I
bring
actually
up
I didn't have to do that this week because again I hate ties because I believe in
we all do.
order.
I like ties.
Yeah. So let's move on into
Bow ties?
13th place on 150 points. Parasite, Lonnie.
Parasite. I gave it a 27 also. Live translation 4, band performance 5, tastes great. I think Parasite sounds great on here. I love that riff just sounds so freaking great on here. So 27 for me. I think it's great.
Mark.
I gave it another perfect score. Gotta love Peter Criss on this one. And I loved, the videos are also what helped me on this a lot too, because I loved watching them play this more than listening, to be honest, in a lot of this stuff. But, great stuff. And again, the riff sounds great. Peter's really cool on fire with this song. And, Gene sings it really well too. So 30.
Daniel.
which song are we talking about?
Parasite.
Parasite. Oh, that's a perfect score. Wow. That was such a performance on a live, and it was a great staple in the live set for decades. I especially enjoyed the version on the club dates in the early 90s, 92, where Eric Singer took it to a completely different level. I mean, that version it felt like something that was released by Pantera or Megadeth or something. It felt like, just a current song, even though it was 20 years old. I was blown back, I was blown away by hearing those bootlegs you got from the
It's incredible
clubs.
what a good amplifier can do.
Yeah, that might be a thing. So perfect score, Parasite, awesome.
Andrew.
I massacred this
1 point. 1 point.
Yeah, I massacred this one
You're
because
fucking crazy.
because I preferred how it sounded later on in the band's history versus how it sounded here. I don't think that this is bad. It's just when someone's like, you got to hear Parasite, I immediately go to the Revenge era.
Yeah.
Before this, nothing wrong with this one. It's just my taste lies later on in the band's history.
So Andrew, you as a drummer, what do you think Eric Singer did differently that made it even a better song? Because that's really what changed
Eric
from this version.
Singer is a drummer's drummer because he plays the songs in a way that he's able to play them the same way multiple times. Peter Criss is too erratic for me, and he speeds up a lot. Eric Singer is a human metronome, and he's a drummer's drummer. He attacks that song in a way that Peter never could. And that's not saying that Peter is bad or whatever. It's just I think Peter being so erratic, especially in those early days, I believe it takes away from it.
And Ken actually saw that in San Francisco in '92 at the Stony Pond or whatever.
Stone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Stone, yeah. Cool. Lucky you.
All right. Ken, Parasite.
Yeah, Parasite, great song.
It's perfect, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's different versions of it out there, but going back to that time period, that is the best you're going to get. That was great. So, yes, another perfect 30 out of 30 on that song. So I could just keep it at that. Great song. Love it.
Yeah, this one's near perfect for me as well. It's sludgy, punky, sleazy guitar, gutter attitude. My only complaint on the mix is that you can hear Gene doing some pretty cool bass stuff. So I would just like to be able to hear a bit more of that. Again, that's just nitpicky to avoid perfection. So, all right, let's take a quick break for one of the songs that was not included on the live set, but oddly, it was included on the King Biscuit Flower Hour when broadcast November the 15th, 1975, in a split concert with the Average White Band. Great version of Picking Up the Pieces on that one, which I listened to as much. I've got a personal listening copy from the reel that I left that on there because it's just such a great performance, but it was on one of their releases as well. Here's Let Me Know, and I believe it's Cleveland, but the intro part of I lose track.
Well, if you want to rock and roll, you just let me know.
All right, Let Me Know from Cleveland. That's
Should have been on there.
Should have been on there.
Should have been on there.
If you're a member of the channel, the video featuring the full audio from these clips will be available to you after this show to hopefully enjoy. All right, let's get back to the rankings. And in 12th place on 152.5, guess who? Points, Let Me Go, Rock and Roll. Final song on the album. Lonnie.
I gave Let Me Go Rock and Roll a perfect score. I love this version of Let Me Go Rock and Roll. It sounds so freaking good. The band sounds so tight. For me, it's perfect. So I'll be interested to see what you guys have to say.
Mark.
I gave it a perfect score as well. I mean, they took a song that was like a 2-minute song on a record, and then the extended part alone is what makes it so fantastic. That whole starting from Gene, do 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 do, that whole bass line bit going in there is fantastic. Just they took a sort of blast song and turned it into a fantastic closing song.
Daniel.
Well, the studio version is kind of crappy. You know, it's like 2 minutes and 14 seconds. I fucking hate that version. It's the worst. So listening to this one is really surprising when you compare the two, because this is way better.
Yep.
This is awesome. This is rock and roll. This is the live feel when you listen to it. It feels like you're there. So I gave it a perfect score, even though I didn't like the studio version at all. So, and I recall seeing this live in the late 90s with Kiss. The crowd gets going during this one. It works. It works live. There's something about this song live that's way superior than that crappy studio version. So I think I gave it a full score, full score as well.
I'm afraid. Andrew?
I massacred this one. This is the last one I massacred. Too long. That's number one. Too long. And I prefer other versions on other tours. I prefer this on the Rock and Roll Over tour. I prefer this on what they did in the Dynasty tour. Then even the Alive 2 tour. I feel like there was more energy when you shorten the song a little bit. I feel like it goes on a little more. And there is a clear edit in the middle of this song that always took me out of it. Because even when I was younger, I thought that this was just one concert recorded in Detroit. You can hear there's a clear edit point in the middle of the song when he talks about Quad City. So that's why for me, I'm always like, man, I'm like, I wish that wasn't there, and I wish we had an awesome version in this quality of the shorter version that appeared later on in the band's history.
All right, Ken.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect. And you know what? This is another reason that I think they shortened it on because it did have that in it. I think the extended version, and Hotter Than Hell, they shortened it to that. It wasn't an afterthought. It was a bad production choice by taking that out. It would have been better on Hotter Than Hell had they kept that long extended version in. Maybe they didn't want to do that because they made it a did they make it one of the singles? I think.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. So yeah, that's right. So maybe that's the reasoning, but another bad choice.
It was the A side for that single. Sorry.
Okay, another bad choice on production by taking that out on that album. It would have made the album even better.
Yeah, for me, it's just a fun jam song. It's great at the end of the album. It's like a palate cleanser after the party of Rock and Roll All Night, the coup de grace, and then you have the happy war dance of celebration after the fact. Just one of those fun moments. All right, in 11th place on 153 points, She, Lonnie.
I gave She a perfect score. I'm starting to get into Ken territory here a little bit, but I gave She a perfect score. I love the ending. I love the song. I love how it translated from Dress to Kill to this, and it sounds so great. And real quick, when I was a senior in high school, I was driving this kid home from school, and I was playing Alive, and She came on, and he heard like the ending of it, and his kid did not. He was not a Kiss guy, but he heard this, and he's like, "Holy crap, is that good?" So, for me, it's a perfect score.
Mark.
I gave it a perfect score as well. This, again, She was one of those songs I was kind of blah on. I thought it was kind of boring on Dress to Kill, my least favorite kind of song. But this version was much better. It's stronger, more energy to it. And being a guitar player, I instantly fell in love with it because of that guitar solo section. Interesting, though, show one, right as he starts the solo, he pops the string, pulls the string out and continues. And then night two, everything else went well. So it's interesting that he busted a string, but did the solo without a fade. It didn't phase him at all. So I love this song. Perfect score.
Daniel.
I think the song benefited from adding that end part that was on a different song on the studio album.
Yeah.
It fits way better on this song. And if I would say which one is my favorite version of this song, I would actually go to maybe Tokyo 95, where Kiss performed it with Eric Singer and Bruce Kulick. That's a great version, and they still keep that, end part from, was it on Let Me Know or something?
Let Me Know.
Let Me Know, yeah. So it didn't fit on Let Me Know, but on She, it's rocking. And I encourage you fans listening today to go to that Tokyo Show 95 and see Kiss in the non-makeup glory performing that song. It's just an awesome version. I think Bruce does a phenomenal job on the solo as well, updating it and still keeping the core of the solo, but updating it to current sound. So She, what a live song, and I'm glad they added it to the set list. I think they added it because of that version that Anthrax did on Kiss My Ass, classic Kiss Regrooved in 94, and they saw the potential because it had been out of the set for a long time. But on Kiss Alive, it rocks, and it rocked in the 90s, and it's a rocking song. Perfect score.
Yeah, I gave it 27 points because Ace is on fire on this song, especially when you get to the end of it. So I dig. Andrew.
The only reason why I didn't give this song a higher score is because I wanted Let Me Know on this, and I wanted that end section back into Let Me Know. I also really enjoyed the version of this from Dodger Stadium 1998, where it had the actual album ending. There's no question that this song does better on the live translation versus the studio version. But yeah, this is just one of those songs where I like it, but I really wanted Let Me Know, and I really wanted that section restored back to Let Me Know.
All right, Ken, what about you?
Another perfect 30. It's, I love it. It's a better version than the studio version. It works much better. It sounds great live. I think when I first heard the song playing Just to Kill, I thought, oh, I don't know about this song, but over time it keeps getting better and better, and especially the live version is the ultimate for it. So perfect.
I think it would have been a better fit on Hotter Than Hell because it's such a dark, song. So I think
With that production, probably.
Because you Dress to Kill is like a happy, pop album, and then you have She. So put it on Hotter Than. They already had it, it's a leftover from early sessions. So yeah,
Wicked Lester.
All right, we're into 10th place now. On 155 points, Rock and Roll All Night.
What the?
I can't believe how far down the ranking the Rock and Roll National Anthem is.
Ask Andrew why it's that. You might want to ask Andrew.
Translation of 5.
I feel the shame washing over this panel right now. Lonnie.
I gave it a 27. I didn't give it a perfect score, but I gave it a 27.
Lonnie.
Because it's the song that put him on the map, basically. So it's the reason why Kiss Alive, one of the reasons why Kiss Alive was so successful. So I gave it a 27. I didn't give it a perfect score, and I'm sure some of you guys did, though.
Mark.
This is it.
No, I think I gave it if I remember correctly, I think I gave it a perfect score. Am I not?
You did.
Correct? Yeah, I gave it a perfect score. And again, you have to remember. Correct. I said I'm going to going with my heart. I'm going with my 13-year-old self who was listening to this and ranking it that way. Because if I didn't do it that way, I would have been all over this song, saying, "Oh, this is not good. That's not good. This blah 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 blah." We would have been here for 20 minutes. So I gave it a perfect score.
There you go.
Yeah, four of us did. Daniel?
Yeah, perfect score. Of course, this is what opened it up for Kiss. This was what created all of history. Without this song, not sure how long they would have been a band. So it's a perfect score, and but I do feel that many Kiss fans are a bit tired of this song, of course, and that's why it might, lose a few points. But all in all, I just have a real quick story. My girlfriend, I've brought to like 4 Kiss shows, I think, and I asked her the other day, "What's your favorite Kiss song?" And I was thinking like Forever or something like that. Rock and Roll All Night. So it seems to work.
Andrew?
There's
work?
no question that the live translation is perfect on this one. But again, my taste tanked this, and then I just don't like listening to this song if I don't have to. That's it.
Ken?
Yep, it was a perfect song. They improved the song by having a guitar solo in it, which they should have had on Just to Kill. I think that was a mistake not doing that, but it is what it is. But it's the better version. That's why they knew it was a good song, so they re-released it, back to back from Just to Kill to Alive, and it got on the radio and got airplay. So it was the right choice. Perfect score.
Yeah, I said I wasn't going to do any ties in my ranking. I lied. I did have this tied as perfect because, again, it's the quintessential Kiss Alive track. The song, the performance, the guitar solo just adds. It is perfection. All right, moving on into 9th place on 155.3 points. Watching You. Lonnie.
Watching You is great. I just love the groove of the song on how it kicks off the second side. I gave Watching You perfect score. I think Gene's vocals on it are great. I think it's a masterpiece. Perfect score for me for Watching You.
Mark?
Perfect score. Again, I mean, like I said, everything is perfect except for that one song, Nothing to Lose. Now, again, with this one, I don't even have to go back to young Mark for this one. I think that this is one of the well-performed songs. I love the riff of this song. I love the way it's performed. Everything about it is good. And in a live context, the song always is much stronger and benefits from the energy from the crowd and everything else. So perfect score.
Daniel?
It's dark, eerie song. I don't think it's as catchy as Black Diamond or Cold Gin or Parasite. So actually, when it comes to taste, I have to just give it a 2. But live translation 5, band performance 5. So it's still a great song. It's never really been a favorite of mine, even though I really enjoy the lyrics. So creepy lyrics on this one. So great song, great performance.
Andrew.
I didn't massacre this one. This is one of my favorite songs. I just kind of liked it later on in the band's. I liked later on in the band's career. I kind of liked this more on the Jersey City 1976 show. I kind of think that having the drum solo attached to this song gave it a really cool vibe. So yeah, I enjoy this, and I think it's a great song to open up side 2. But again, I've listened to this for so long that there are no sides anymore, just one CD.
But Andrew, as a drummer, if you compare the version on a live 3 to a live 1, which one do you prefer?
No comparison whatsoever. It's just the musicianship on a live 3 is light years ahead of what it is here. But maybe that doesn't matter sometimes.
Yeah.
Ken, watching you.
Watching You is really one of my favorite songs. I really love that song. And it's obviously a 30 perfect score because everything's perfect on Kiss Alive. I'm not going to go putting a 0.8 on any of this stuff. So, great song. Great all around. Keep it simple.
Yes, I've got a problem with Watching You. For any of the other songs on this album, you can go pull a bootleg and hear it being performed live and, have something to contrast and compare with the live production and everything that was done to create that. But I don't for Watching You. So it impacts my ability to really give it a whole, perfection. I think one of the exclusions would fit here better. Some of the stuff that we know for certain was, performed during that tour. So, I give it 24 and a bit points. It's a very good song. It's great live and it's a fun one. And the comments have really hit it. But I think it would be a nice thing to have one of the other songs that we can compare and confirm were performed during the tour being, part of the set. Here is a bit of multimedia for one of those songs for our next multimedia segment. And this is some of Rock Bottom.
I want to tell y'all something.
Room service.
I want to tell you something about being on the road all the time. I tell you, when you're on the road all the time and you're taking jets every day and you're in a different holiday inn every night, it gets boring. And we wrote a song because you see, the only thing that keeps you going when you're on the road is booze and broads. Let's hear it for all the women in the audience. Oh yeah! All right. One thing you can really use when you're in your hotel bed, and that's some room service. I'm feeling low, so ready to go. And I'm thinking there's gonna be all the hotels, all the girls, rocking the Wall Street. And you think I'm a gal, just a night with no bed. But ladies home, when I feel I'm too tired, well, I'm just too down. Blue bed, baby, I'm blue bed. What you feel? Blue bed. I think I'm living with a man. I'm playing the bed, and I'm afraid they're gonna keep me waiting until I.
Oh, hey, you're still here, watching or listening. Why don't you hit that subscribe button or click the like one? And if you want even more, click on the join button on YouTube. Thanks for your support.
All right, getting back to the show, members can hear
Fuck me.
more of that recording after
Great
the fact.
stuff. Ooh.
Yeah, moving on
Booze and
into the top half of the ranking. In 8th place, 155.6 points, 100,000 years. Lonnie.
Ooh, I gave 100,000 Years a 30 also. I think. Oh, no. Did I? No, I gave it a 20. I gave it a 27. I knocked it a little bit.
Hater.
Very critical.
Hater.
I think 100,000 Years is great. Peter's
Hater.
solos. The band performance I give it a 5 because I think Peter's solo and Paul's rap in the middle of it is great, and it feels like being at a Kiss show, especially with that long Paul rap in the middle. I know it's long, but it's really good. So I give it a 27.
Mark.
So this is a little side note here. I remember when I first got this record, and I was listening to it a couple of times. That thing at the Gene's thing at the beginning was a do 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 do.
Yeah.
Back then I used to think to myself, that as a bass solo that really sucked. But then I didn't realize at the time that it was the part that he was doing the blood bit in. So when I was younger, I was like, "This is terrible. What kind of is that all you can do on bass?" But then I figured it out later and grown to love it. And I gave it a perfect score as well because I'm for one who loved drum solos. Being a Neil Peart guy, of course, you got to love drum solos, and nobody can match him for drum solos. But that drum solo section, I think, was good. And I like the way Paul incorporates his rant in with it. It adds to it and makes it very, very much a live element of a show. And if they would have edited any of that out, I think that would have been a mistake because it would have took away from the live feel. So I give it a perfect score.
Daniel.
I see the point of keeping the drum solo and making the listeners feel the live vibe. But as a song, 100,000 Years, to me, can't compete with Do Strutter, Cold Gin, and so on. So, but production-wise, 5. I gave it. The only setback that it got from me was 2 points out of taste. I can't really get into this song. I think it's a long jam, and I do see the point of adding the Peter Criss solo. It has inspired so many drummers through the years, so it was a good idea. But to me, it's not on par with the top songs on the album. So I think I gave it 20 points.
Andrew.
I would have given this higher if they gave me little skip selections on the CD version where I could have skipped I can listen to the song, skip to Paul's rap, or skip to the reprise of the song. It's not that, I don't know, just sometimes like when I'm out on like long runs or long walks, I'm like, man, sometimes I just don't want to listen to, I just want to listen to songs. I think this song translates well live. This is definitely better than what it was on the first album. But I could do without the additional solos. Like I loved when they started not doing the drum solo in the middle of God of Thunder. I could just listen to God of Thunder. It was fantastic.
Yeah, long run for Andrew. How is a long run for Andrew? I thought Lonnie was the only one running in this panel.
Hell do distances way farther than me. I live by the beach here in Cleveland, Ohio. I mean, it's a man-made beach and it's by a lake, but yeah, I'll go up and down that. But he's got me as far as distance and time.
2 kilometers. You don't know what you don't even know what a kilometer is. So what the hell?
Like inches.
Ken, 100,000 Years.
100,000 Years. Always loved the song, and yes, it is perfect, like the rest of this. So I'll just leave it at that. Another great. I always love the bass coming in. That kicks off the song. It's just a great, way to kick off the song. So perfect.
That's a great point from Justin Hell.
Yeah. And again, it's those things that Andrew wants to skip that I love about this song and the performance, which makes everything unskippable. It's all about the drums to me, and it's better than the first album version. It's got the energy. It's got everything that kind of represents that era. And they can also almost see Paul in the mind's eye, leading the communion. All right. We're into 7th place on 166.1. Points are starting to separate. Got to choose, Lonnie.
Got to choose. I gave it 27. I think it's fantastic on here. It sounds incredible. It's not my favorite version I got to choose, but it's my favorite electric version I got to choose. So it's It sounds really great. Unplugged.
Whoa, he's got Mark internet.
Something is happening to his sound.
Yeah. Yeah, totally lost his audio now. Yeah, so I gave this a perfect score. I've always been a big supporter of Got to Choose, as Daniel knows, as we did our Kiss Riffs episode. I love this song. And this is just way, way better than the studio version on, Hotter Than Hell. Fantastic song. Always being a big supporter of it. And to keep with Julian's request to keep it short, I'll even leave it at that.
No, don't keep yourself from talking about it. Just be concise. Daniel.
My favorite version is actually when Mark played it on our KissFAQ episode. That was the first time I really heard that riff being interesting, because I never got into this song, to be perfectly honest. It was never a standout to me, so I gave it 2 for taste, but it sounds great on the record, so I gave it 20 points. It's an okay song, but go and listen to that riff episode with Mark, and then you can hear the riff in all its glory.
Thank you, Daniel.
Andrew, I'm amazed by your score, by the way.
Perfect score for me. This is one of my favorite Kiss songs. This is one of my favorite translations. I'd like Unplugged a little bit less than this, but I love this song, and I was really hoping this was going to be on those Cobo Hall 76 shows, and it wasn't. But yeah, love this song. Perfect score for me.
Ken.
Yep. Perfect. If I was going to ding any of these songs, I probably would have dinged this by 0.1. But it's better. It's much better than the Hotter Than Hell version. So it really brings the song to life, I think, live. So perfect score. 30.
Yeah, I think when it comes to Kiss Alive, all material from those studio albums benefits from its translation to the live when taken under the care of Eddie Kramer as well, engineering and producing. But Hotter Than Hell material the most. I love Got to Choose. I always have. This is the definitive version of Got to Choose for me. Enough said. We will move on into 6th place on 172.35 points. Rock Bottom. Lonnie.
I hope you guys can hear me better.
Oh, clear.
Yeah.
Crystal.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, good.
Crystal.
Good. Thank you. Good. Rock Bottom. I gave it 27. It is. I guess we all sound like broken records today, but it's darn good. I love the translation of the first part of the song to the second part of the song. It sounds great. Ace and Paul do great on the first half of it, and the band sounds great on the second. So it's 27 for me. It's really, really good.
Mark.
I gave it a perfect score. I've always been a big supporter of this song, and I love the introduction piece is great between Ace and Paul playing that thing there. And another hats off to Eddie Kramer, because there was for sure somewhere in the recording you have some Joe Crew is probably going, yeah, or doing some kind of scream while they're playing it that totally ruined the vibe of it. But he obviously was able to finesse that out of the recording there. So it's a great song, and I think that I'm happy that they put that in there, because I don't think I've ever seen a version of it on video. At least I haven't, of them doing it around that time. So it'd be great if they do put out something later on where I could see it in a live capacity too.
It's funny that you mentioned audience sounds of people screaming. I find 70s and older live recordings much more enjoyable than modern ones. I listen to a lot of Metallica ones, and there's always this one girl that seems very close to the mic and sounds like she's being murdered throughout the whole show. And I'm just like, that is so freaking distracting. Whereas an organic audience track is much more enjoyable. Daniel.
Murdered in
high heels.
Ah,
nice.
Okay, which song is it now?
Rock Bottom.
Rock Bottom. Okay,
The other perfect song.
Well, I think but you guys are monologuing for so long, so I get thinking.
Really
start thinking about other things. But when it comes to Rock Bottom, I think the best thing they changed is that the intro part is way shorter than on the record, because on the record it feels like there are almost like two separate songs. Now it feels like it leads you into the rocking part of the song, and I like it. I gave it a perfect score, and when I listened to Dress to Kill, you kind of wanted to skip that intro part because it was way too long. Now it's better. So this is the best version of Rock Bottom. It's perfect score.
Andrew.
I like this one. The only reason why I didn't give it a perfect score was because I actually wanted the intro to be longer. I really, really like that slow intro part. I like it a lot. I'm hopeful that we'll get to hear the time where they actually opened up with it, where they actually used maybe the studio version, then into the hard. So I love this one. This is one of the ones that I think is what makes Kiss appeal to such a broad audience, because not everything is rock and roll night and Black Diamond. Then you have little gems like this where you have this really nice instrumental section at the beginning that I love.
How many shows did they open with Rock Bottom?
Not many. We have
One.
evidence of 2. No.
2?
We have evidence of 2.
Okay.
Do we?
We do.
There's so many mysteries that are yet to be revealed when it comes to history. Ken?
Okay, Rock Bottom. Well, you know what Gene says? It's perfect.
That doll actually looks
is
pretty
a
good. That's a pretty
Kiss
good
Alive.
looking doll.
Kiss Alive figure.
Or do you say action figure? Just not to embarrass Ken that he plays with dolls.
Yeah.
I say doll.
You say dollies is what you say.
It actually looks like an early Gene, 75. Good looking
Give me your
doll.
money.
Gene Simmons a Kiss.
I
That's
need
30.
your money.
Sculpted by Danny Farrow, who is actually the rhythm guitar player in Angel right now.
Powerful
Yeah.
and effective. Yes.
Really
Okay.
good. Yeah, so that was my vote for Rock Bottom as well. Powerful. Really good. The dynamics. It just seems a little out of place. But then again, it's a nice break of pace with that intro. So there we go. It's all splitting hairs in this part of the who was it? Hitspace, worst scoring system ever. The scoring system's irrelevant. It's just a way to order the conversation. It absolutely makes no point whatsoever. So don't worry about it. In fifth place on 173.7 points, Come On and Love Me. Lonnie.
Quite disappointed in all of you that Come On and Love Me is not higher. But I know Ken helped me out and gave it a perfect score, so I hold no ill will.
Of course.
Come On and Love Me is fantastic. It's my favorite Kiss song, and my go-to version of it is on Kiss Alive. It's absolutely perfect.
Mark.
Come on and love me. I gave it a perfect score as well. I thought it was a fantastic version of it as well. And just a joy to listen to and a good place in the set list too. Nice and early. I always thought it was a good place to have it.
Oh, wait, where's Daniel? Andrew.
I do enjoy this one. I think I probably would have changed my scoring system and given it a perfect score, but I really enjoy this one, and I loved when they brought it back on the second half of the reunion tour.
Ken.
It is a 30, just like Lonnie. Perfect score. Great song. Sounds even better than the, Just to Kill version sounded great on its own. But this, even live, it's great. Still works great. So 30. And let's see what Daniel has.
Yeah, Daniel, Come On and Love Me.
You're muted.
You're
You're muted.
Ken.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no, I did it, Ken.
How embarrassing, right, Ken?
That's really embarrassing. Oh no.
That's very
That's
bad.
the first and the last time I'll do that. Okay, well, I had to go and take a quick pee. But, Come On Love Me, I know it's one of Lonnie's favorite songs, and I do agree it's such a great gem from Dress to Kill. At times I feel that they could have added more songs from Dress to Kill, like Anything for My Baby or Room Service, 2 great songs that never got the attention it craved, that it never got a chance, those songs. Great songs, but this one, a great song. I actually enjoy the studio version. It's a 5 out of 5 on this on Dress to Kill as well. But here it comes alive and it's even better. So perfect score.
Yeah.
And Andrew is gone.
Yeah, he already spoke though. So
Okay.
for Come On and Love Me, I'm still refusing ties, which is really tough for a song as great as Come On and Love Me. It's another one of my all-time favorites, made even better in the live format. And it just proves that the acoustic guitars that you have underpinning it on the studio version are completely irrelevant to the song in reality. When you've got the live dynamic going, it is kick ass. One last thing, the scoring. The only scoring that matters is your scoring out there.
It's my score.
Any of you think, all of you, they're all irrelevant. They all matter. Everyone's right. Let's take another break for the final bit of multimedia of another song that could have been on a live, and we'll see if you can guess where well, it's written in the description.
He's in waiting!
Oh,
All right. Ladies in Waiting from Largo. I did mess around with trying to work on Kobo 76. That is just donkey piss, that audio on that video. All right. In fourth place on 175.2 points. Hotter than hell. Lonnie.
I gave it 27. It's really, really good. It's so strong. It's so powerful when you listen to it. Especially like you listen to it at home on vinyl or something. That song is so powerful when you listen to it. Great version of the song. 27 for me. Really, really good.
Daniel.
I think I gave it a perfect score as well. I like the studio version. I like the live version even better. So perfect score.
Mark.
Yeah, perfect score for me. What a surprise compared to the dragging version that's on the studio album. Is just unbelievable how slow that is. This one is full of energy and sounds perfect.
Who did I miss?
Ken and Andrew.
Oh, Andrew. Sorry, I went out of order there, so screwed myself up.
Hey, perfect score for me on this. This is my favorite guitar solo of all time. And Julian, on the sheet you sent us, you labeled this Hotter Than Hill. So I thought you may have been referring to the free song All Right Now, which is actually what this song is. But anyway, perfect score for me.
Ken.
Come on, Ken.
Yes, I'm not the only one muted today.
Oh.
Yes.
Wow.
I had to one up Daniel.
One up, yeah.
Make him feel better.
Thank you.
Do I have to say? Perfect. That's all I'll say. Perfect score.
Well, I give it slightly less than perfect because I don't find it as successful as a translation from Hotter Than Hell as Got to Choose, and it immediately follows that. So just a couple of tenths off for style points, but there we are. All right, moving on into third place on 176.7 points. Black Diamond. Lonnie.
I gave Black Diamond a perfect score. Black Diamond is so strong and so powerful right here. It doesn't get much better than Black Diamond on Kiss Alive. So perfect score for me.
Mark.
The fact that this isn't number one is an absolute crime in my opinion. This is the be all end all perfect version of this song. It couldn't have gotten much better. Even if Jesus came beside him and doubled guitar with him, it couldn't have gotten better than this version.
Okay, John Lennon.
So it sounds fantastic.
Easy.
I love it. It sounds amazing. Even Paul's guitar playing, which is usually shaky sometimes on this song when it comes to the introduction, is very good on here. And thanks to Eddie, that's probably why.
Daniel. No blasphemy, please.
Yeah. No problem. Okay. Well, I have to say that the studio version is great. on the album, but this is way better. This is where the song comes alive. And when we did that, we did what was it called? Death matches. We did the studio albums. I think Black Diamond went on to become like second or third song at the end there. But if we would have done live versions, I think Black Diamond could maybe end up as number one, because this is one of the best versions of Black Diamond ever heard. So what a perfect score. This is something to play for non-Kiss fans and make them see the greatness of Kiss.
Andrew, was that a misprint copy of Alive 2 that you were fondling?
Perhaps.
Finally.
I had to scan it for something. Perfect score for me. Perfect score for me. Love this song. Love Peter's vocal. Love everything about it.
Yeah.
Ken?
Yeah, it should be number one. It is the best live song out there. That's the one I want to hear every concert. Unfortunately, they do it almost. They did it almost every tour and every time. So, and it's great every time they do it. So, it's a 30 for me. I'll give it 30. Actually, change my score to a 40. So this moves it up in the list, Julian. Please, thank you.
Yeah, this is just so near perfection that you can feel the heat and energy of the audience throughout this, the set culmination. This is the crescendo. It really is fantastic. But we clearly think that two songs are better here. And in second place, 176.85. So just by a gnat's ass hair.
0.85.
Strutter.
0.85.
Strutter. Beats
How do you
out Black
arrive
Diamond.
at these? How do you arrive at these decimals?
Julian's math.
Yes, Julian's math.
Yay.
More Julian math.
Strutter's like the perfect second song.
60 points from Colin.
Is a perfect second song, straight out of Deuce, straight into Strutter. I wish that they would have started more concerts, especially like on the reunion tour. If they would have just gone from Deuce straight into Strutter, it's such a good combination. It's doesn't get much better. Go ahead, whoever's next.
Who's digging in a bag of chips right now?
It's Daniel's been.
Sorry. It's getting late over here.
God.
I'm getting it.
Time in Sweden.
You know, it's sorry.
Yeah, it's really late, 9 o'clock.
There is
okay,
a mute
so
button. Yeah.
8 o'clock.
I gave it a perfect score. Really, it's not that much different from the studio version, except it just has far more energy to it, and it's just, you know, the energy really helps put it to another level. And it's always been a favorite of mine, and I think it's one of the songs that Peter Criss always seems to have that edge over the other drummers. For some reason, there's something about this song that he just has a little bit of a better feel for than the others. But this is the only song, I think.
Andrew.
Perfect score for me. This is the perfect second song, and it is a crime that it was not on the End of the Road tour as a mainstay.
Damn right. Especially at the final show. Ken.
Yes, perfect. And I agree with Mark on Peter Criss. Definitely. It's that swing thing he's got that makes that song and makes a lot of Kiss's songs work better. Something about the way his style is just perfect for the band. Was perfect for the band. So perfect.
Yeah, I did 2 words as my notes for Strutter. Well, other than it being the perfect second part of a 1-2 punch, is amplified swagger. It really is one of those songs that just transcends the original version. So
I think I'm left, so I think it's. Oh no, I was cut short.
all right, continue your thought.
Yeah, I didn't mention my score for Strutter. It's a perfect score. And just on a side note, I have to say that I have a teenage daughter. She has been forced to hear a lot of Kiss through the years. I can tell you that. And the other day I asked her, "Well, what are some of your favorite songs with Kiss?" And then she grabbed the bass guitar that I have placed in her room, and she started playing. So this actually transcends generations. These riffs on this song is so cool. So even teenagers today seem to like it. So perfect score.
Nice, which means that the
Number
winner,
one.
there is no winner. It's just the number one song of this panel today
the
on
best one.
100. A perfect, the only song I think that's
Julian's
ever
favorite.
received a perfect score. Oh, no,
Wait a
clearly not just me, Ken, because it's perfect 180.
It is perfect.
Deuce, Lonnie.
180. Wow, that is pretty incredible that all of us have it as a perfect score. There's again, Deuce kicking off Kiss Alive. How freaking powerful is that? It's the perfect opening song. I wish they would have. I like Detroit Rock City as an opener, but I think Deuce is an even better opener. I wish they would just
Yes.
always started off shows with Deuce. It's such a great kicking, like punch in the face start a show, and it doesn't get much better again than Deuce on Kiss Alive.
Mark.
Deuce had an unfair advantage in my voting, mainly because of the fact that, besides the fact that it's such a great version on this album, it's incredibly well played. I remember going to see Kiss at the reunion tour in Skydome in Toronto, and when they opened it, I just can't explain to you the feeling of seeing that in its glory when they were still playing incredibly well early in the tour, and that'll be forever ingrained in my mind. So Deuce will always be, to me, the ultimate opening Kiss song.
Daniel, I won't forget you this time.
Well, I think Gary said that Deuce was influenced by Bitch. I failed to hear that it's that similar. Maybe a little bit of
It's not.
influence, but I don't think they're very similar. However, Deuce is the perfect live song, the perfect opener, and it sounds perfect on this album and on Alive 3. I like it as well. Kind of a different take on it, but I still like that take as well. I go to both versions when I want to listen to Deuce. And even though I don't have an idea of what he's singing about, I think that opening line is so perfect. Get up and get your grandma out of here. That's a perfect opener. So perfect song.
Yeah, the similarity between Deuce and Bitches, both titles have 5 letters in them. Andrew.
Listen, this is a perfect score for me. This was the very first song I saw Kiss do live back in '96. So for me, this is always going to take me right back to that time and seeing the curtain drop and seeing the band there. So great song, great live translation, and yeah, how you can't get any better than that.
Ken.
Yeah, this is such a great opening type song, or it should have been opener for, all their tours. Really, this is just a great song, great Gene song. I think even Gene thinks it's. I want to say he says it's his favorite, or it's.
Yep.
He thinks it's his best song. He's actually said that, which can't say that he's wrong on that. I think it is one of those greatest songs that he's ever written. So perfect.
And there we are, really. I mean, it is perfect. It's my Kiss song. It is the first Kiss song I probably ever heard. So, I'm not even going to put the ranking back up because the ranking doesn't matter. I think Ken nails it, that Alive is perfect. The album, everything it represents. Jimmy, I want to go back to your comment before we wrap up. And, the comment about this chat, would it be more appropriate when the box set comes out? Well, number one, what box set? Nothing's been announced yet. We've heard things from Eddie and various parties. But we will do a whole another show on that when and if we know what it is. And that, number one, that it exists. And I can't wait to hopefully get the opportunity to talk about another potential Kiss box set. That keeps me going every day. That Kiss has still got stuff that I want to hear, that I want to know, that I want to be corrected on. So yeah, we will do this all again when that time comes. And if it does come out, then we'll be doing one about what we thought about the contents of it, So there we go with that. I mentioned my Kiss Comes Alive feature at the beginning of the show. Andrew, what else is there for people who want to celebrate Kiss Alive in the fan-based multimedia that's come out over the years?
There's so much great multimedia on YouTube right now if you want to celebrate not only Kiss Alive, but the year 1975. I'm going to go first to Kissed in Cadillac by the great Necromonium video. You can see that right on YouTube right now. He did a great little documentary on Kiss's visit to Cadillac, which is literally a month after Kiss Alive came out. So this absolutely needs to be lumped in with the Kiss Alive era. Not only that, the two great music videos from Dress to Kill, Come On and Love Me and Rock and Roll All Night, were done for the Dress to Kill, which, again, Dress to Kill and Alive are synonymous. Much so how Love Gun and Alive 2 are synonymous. Frankenstein, he did these 50th anniversary remixes of Come On and Love Me and Rock and Roll All Night, editing those together and giving us a new project. And then last but certainly not least, you can view my Alive at 50 at my website, andrewscambatti.com, or right on YouTube. Put all three in a playlist and watch them all there, and it'll be a great afternoon of 1975 and 1975 Kiss Alive. And I also forgot to mention my Kiss at Midnight, which is the 1976 TV special that never happened, also on my YouTube channel and my website.
Awesome. So final thoughts on Alive, Lonnie?
Like I said, like we were saying at the jump, it's one of the biggest reasons that we're here. It's one of the biggest reasons why we're all Kiss fans. And you can tell by all of our scores, it really doesn't get much better than Kiss Alive.
Mark?
Loved the album, had a huge impact on me as a guitar player and as just a musician in general.
Daniel?
What a live album. This made me listen to live albums a whole lot. This was the starter. And during the 90s, I listened to a lot of bootlegs from Kiss just to try to capture this live feel that you had on a live. Kiss playing old tunes and making them sounding better than on the studio records. So this started me off on a live journey that hasn't stopped yet.
Andrew?
Perfect. And again, just to say what everybody else says, this is why we're all here. Kiss Alive brought Kiss to the masses. And hopefully when the anniversary, September 10th, is celebrated next week, hopefully something new comes out for all of us to enjoy. And if it does, if they announce it, you could literally watch this 30 seconds after the announcement. So that's why we did this before that, if there is an announcement.
Ken?
Yes, Kiss Alive. This saved Casablanca Records, saved Kiss, saved rock and roll.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't go that far, but...
Well,
hell yeah.
It's saved rock and roll. I'm just going to
yeah,
I'll add that too. Great. This is it. I mean, this is what, why we're here. Otherwise, we might not be here talking about it at all, or what came after it. So there you have it.
Kiss Alive is the cure, even for the most jaded of Kiss fans. It is real. It takes you back in time. It puts you right in that audience where many of us who became fans after that era was over wish we could have been. For those of you who were able to see Kiss in 1975, 1976, savor those memories. Spin Alive. If there is an announcement in the next week of what we all hope might eventuate, then it'll be cause for further celebration. But until then, I'm going to shut up and I'm going to go have a walk and play Kiss Alive. So that's it. From Lonnie, from Mark, Daniel, Andrew, Ken, and myself, thank you for joining us. Go play Kiss Alive right now. Thank you for spending time listening to the KissFAQ podcast today. All sales are final. There are no refunds. If you'd like, look us up on Facebook or come over to the message board and discuss the topics we've broadcast today. Don't forget to hit subscribe wherever you've listened to this show, and a like would very much be appreciated. We hope you'll join us again, but until then, remember, life's a radio. Turn it up to 10.